Names former Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani and the former publicist for Kanye West, who was also involved in efforts involving the mother and daughter team who were working as election volunteers at the State Farm Arena. And the indictment lays out alleged efforts to overturn President Trump's 2020 presidential election loss here in Georgia. And we do have crews all over the state ready to help you understand every angle of what's next in this case.
Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon begins our coverage. He is live outside the Fulton County Courthouse. Doug.
Right. Good evening, guys. And I think the question everybody has on their mind is, when could this actually happen? Well, we were up there yesterday listening to District Attorney Fani Willis talk about how this will all go down in this jurisdiction, and it's actually not something that is in her hands. This will be up to the judge trying this case as to when this court date will actually be set. But she's aiming to have it done sometime in the next 6 months, she said. For the fourth time since leaving office, former President Donald Trump was hit with felony charges, this time in Fulton County, along with some Georgia allies.
The defendants engaged in a criminal racketeering enterprise to overturn Georgia's presidential election result.
For that, Trump and some big names like Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, and former state GOP chair David Schaefer could be staring down at least 5 years of jail time or probation. They have until next Friday to surrender to authorities in Fulton County or become fugitives. The group will have to stop by the jail, be booked and processed, and as Sheriff Pat Labat promised 2 weeks ago, get their mugshots taken.
So it doesn't matter your status. We have mugshots ready for you.
Georgia State University law professor Clark Cunningham was up until 2 in the morning reading the 98-page indictment. With jail time a real possibility for the 19 defendants, he expects some might take deals with Willis before a trial even starts.
Some of those indicted co-conspirators, if they're looking at minimum of 5 years, I think they're going to be talking to the district attorney about cooperating.
In a post to his site Truth Social on Tuesday, Trump used familiar language, calling the charges a witch hunt, and then teasing to a big announcement of his own report on Georgia's 2020 election on Monday. As for when a trial here in Fulton County might start, Willis noted it may not be up to her.
In this jurisdiction, trials are set by the judges, and so it will be the judge that sets the date of the trial.
And Willis went on to say last night she does plan to submit a scheduling order sometime this week, so we should know more very soon. We're live outside the Fulton County Courthouse. Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.